Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Enter the Ether, the new podcast that's all about the upcoming third-person MOBA Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm your host, the Man Goose. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Jelly Knees. How you doing, Jelly?
I'm great, man. Goose, how are you?
Was that the jelly guns? Did you
Always,
shoot the jelly
dude. I
guns?
gotta rock the jelly guns.
Right on, man. How was your week?
Oh, it's been crazy stressful, but I'm happy to be here.
Same here. Same here. We need to get this game so I have an escape. I don't have an escape
Seriously.
anymore. I need something to take me out of the real world.
Well, we could
So
enter the ether if it would ever come out, you know? So
exactly. Oh, on brand, right on. So this week, what we're going to be talking about are the voice lines. Specifically, we're going to try and guess some of the abilities from the voice lines. They didn't leave us a lot to go on. Some of them, I think they straight up just gave us the ability names in the voice line. They just didn't tell us what they were. So, of course, you guys, if you have any ideas what you think the abilities are, please let us know in the comments below. But let's get into it now. I wrote down a whole bunch of the voice lines, the ones that interested me in particular. Jelly, at any point, if you have one too that you want to throw in, of course, feel free to do so. But let's start off with the ultimates. And the first ultimate we have is Zero. He says, "You will be judged."
You will
Now,
be
what I gather
judged.
from that is that it's a single target ultimate ability that's going to be offensive. That's about all we can gather. But I mean, you, I guess, could refer to a group of people, but usually it just refers to one person. So I think this might be a single target ultimate. What do you think, Jelly?
I completely agree. I think the U gives that away, and that it's going to be single target. And the way I see this, and the way the line is delivered, is it reminds me of, I know you don't play League, but in League, there's a character, Garen, whose ultimate is that he kind of drops a sword on somebody and smites them for a large chunk of damage, more so if they're low health.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably what we're going to see here for Zero, is something very similar to that, because Zero's very balance of the scales type deal. In my mind, right? Seeing what we've seen and hearing some of the Zero's voice lines, that's kind of what I think of. So that this "you will be judged" is kind of that counterweight to that. So I think it'll be probably some kind of execute ultimate, and that does percent health or something in thereof.
When I heard the voice line, what I thought of was Ethereal from Heroes of the Storm, which is the Blizzard MOBA. And Ethereal is also, of course, from Diablo, if you guys have ever played Diablo. But he's kind of an angelic presence, just like Zero. And he has an ultimate called Judgment, where he flies to one target, deals some damage, and stuns them. That's kind of what I thought of. The only thing I think we can really know for sure, and we can't even really know that for sure, is that it is probably a single target ultimate. And it I think we could definitely 99.9% certainty say that it's an offensive ultimate.
Yep, I would completely agree with that. Especially with Zero's kind of whole aesthetic of having the sword and gun. I don't really see it being some kind of defensive ultimate of any kind, based on their philosophy for designing heroes.
Right. And then let's see, Grognark. Grognark says, "No stone left unturned."
No stone
With
left
Grognark being
unturned.
a groundy boy, kind of a rock guy, I would assume this would be some sort of earthquake type thing. What do you think, Jelly?
That was my thought behind it too, similar to Reinhardt in Overwatch, is some kind of cone-shaped kind of knock-up that'll stun people or something along those lines. Especially knowing, so he's a berserker, so he moves rocks. He's already going to be able to move and position rocks based on the class ability. So I think that just escalating that to a more widespread thing that could knock people up or trap them in stone or something like that would be a good ability for him.
Right. Yeah, he's a berserker. I think that would be really cool. Hopefully, what would be really cool is if it went through multiple levels.
Oh,
Like
that'd
you
be
did it on the top
rad.
level and it went all the way down through the bottom.
That'd be super cool, actually.
Like
Lots
if
of
you could pay
potential with
attention to
that
your
and
positioning.
abilities.
Yeah.
Like if you had some kind of spire ability that towered down, if it did damage all the way through all the layers first, that could be, there's some cool things you could do with that.
Can you imagine getting a double kill? You get somebody up above you and somebody right in front of you.
The coincidence of just like, oh, I got 2 people. Yay.
And of course, if you're me, you'll pass it off like you did it on purpose. Like,
and if you're me, you'll be the second guy that died to absolutely something random.
like, what the hell? And then Exiel, he says 2 as 1. Jelly, what do you think of that?
I think because we know the whole deal is that he's got like split personality. There's a term for it in the lore that I can't remember suddenly. But that there's going to be some kind of both of his forms are going to attack at the same time. So whether that be double auto damage or some kind of you do an auto and some magic damage with it or something like that. That's what I see this as, is them coming together to fight together in some way. Right.
Yeah, the only thing I can really gather is definitely a self-buff ultimate. Like 2 as 1, we know that he's got his weird shadow that he talks to in his voice lines. So yeah, I think that's definitely a self-buff style ultimate.
Unless, who knows, it could be that you take a teammate and the 2 of you come together and now you have all your abilities. One person controls abilities, one person controls movement.
Cho'Gall. And then Nikolai says, coming at you live. No idea what that could be personally.
It could be a buff for his team. It could be a debuff for the enemy team. It could be damage. It could literally a charm. It could be anything.
Maybe he literally comes at you. You know, I don't. Yeah, you can't really gather anything from that one. We do know that Nikolai is a support, so it very well could be like a team-wide buff or something, but no idea from the voice line.
Maybe it's a move speed increase. So that it's a team-wide move speed increase so that he's rocking out and motivating everyone to charge forward or something like that.
That would be pretty good, especially if it offered attack speed too.
Oh, that'd be
move
great.
Speed and attack speed on it, that would be crazy. And then Kalia, playtime is over.
Playtime is
Jelly, what do you think of that?
over!
I have no idea, to be honest.
No.
Knowing that she's a 9-tailed fox, right? I assume you could go through some of the lore of 9-tailed foxes and probably find something, but it's the word playtime that is messing with me here. If it was like your reign is over or something like that, I'd be like, okay, maybe I could extrapolate further, but it's the playtime that is messing with me here.
Well, I mean, you could tell from the rest of her voice lines that she is very playful, like just her attitude is very carefree. I don't know, she's a mage, so probably some kind of AoE is what I'm going to say.
Probably that much is probably true.
That's all I got. And this one really confused me as well. Leah, the one of the Sky Slayers, we blossom as one. Now, she's very nature based, but I have no idea what we blossom as one could be.
So I know Leah's kind of lore is that she was born from a tree because of her deity. So that, in my mind, that the blossom is her being born from the tree, that she's kind of trying to associate with that. So maybe but she's not a support. So maybe it's a revive. Maybe she could revive somebody born out of a tree or something, or I don't know. That one's weird because you can't even like.
That's what gets me too. If she was a support, that line would make perfect sense because it would be a support style to go along with a support style ultimate. But I mean, nothing says that a Sky Slayer can't have a supporting ultimate, but it just seems strange.
Yeah. And typically you see that if the junglers, which being the Sky Slayers, are going to have supportive ultimates, it's usually a stun of some kind or some kind of chained CC between the enemy team. And I just don't see this line associating with either of those concepts.
Maybe she picks somebody up and flies with them. Ooh, maybe it's kind of like we were talking about.
That'd be kind of cool. She can pick up a teammate and fly along for a little bit. That'd be kind of rad, actually.
It would be neat. See, malware. I think this one's kind of obvious. Yep. Trapped in my reality. I think it'll be a lot like Revenant's ultimate in Paragon.
100%. Especially knowing malware comes from a more like technological reality that it's different from the plane that we're going to be on, that's trapped in his reality, he's just going to open a portal, shove somebody through it, and duke it out 1v1, which I love. That's one of my favorite ultimates that you see in MOBAs, because it's the true 1v1. It's like, okay, you and me, let's go. No team to help you out right now. We're proving this.
And hopefully they can make it work, because Epic never made it work with Revenant. It never functioned the way that maybe it's my fault for misinterpreting, but no, they did pretty clearly say in his hero reveal that it was going to be a 1-versus-1 fight.
Yeah, the way they did it was weird.
It was always you could be affected by other stuff. And that wasn't because they wanted his ultimate to be that way. That's because they couldn't get his ultimate to function in the way they wanted it to. Well, and so hopefully Malware's ultimate is just like Revenant's ultimate, but it works.
My understanding of ultimates like that is that when those characters are in play, you're basically rendering a second version of the playfield at the same time. Okay. That when they cast that ultimate, it's whoever they cast on and them are going to that second version of the playfield. So it's removing them, but it's not at the same time. It's from what I understand, very complicated on a coding side to get that to work correctly.
I bet.
So I can't imagine the undertaking that they're going through if that's really what it is.
They'd probably need a whole new server and everything. I mean, that wouldn't be very cost efficient to have 2 servers for one game.
No, I assume but they also said that they want it to be easier to play than Paragon was, or at the same level at the very least. So that's a hard metric to fit. And I think that was part of Paragon's problem with Revenant, is that game took so much resources that to then have a character that has to separate those resources from each other is a lot to do, and instantaneous at the same time.
I guess we'll find out.
So Malaya, you made me do this.
You made me do this.
It sounds like it's some kind of returning of damage in my mind, that she'll build up damage over time. It's kind of the like stop hitting yourself kind of return.
Yeah.
So she builds up damage over time, presses her ultimate, and returns it all to somebody. You made me do this.
That's a keen observation here. I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking because she's an assassin that it's definitely a single target focused ultimate. I didn't even think so far as the "you made me do this" implies that she actually reflects damage to people in a way, or stores it up and then unleashes it on them.
Part of the reason I think of that as well is that we've seen that concept art with her having that shield or whatever it is around her. And I'm thinking that those two things are related. So the shield in some way is gathering the damage that she then returns to somebody else.
Oh, that would be badass. I like that. Good call. Jelly knees. Marina, this one is another one that could be just about anything. But she is a support. She says Hurricane Marina.
Hurricane Marina.
Yep.
Clever voice line, I guess, but doesn't really tell us anything.
This could mean really literally anything.
Much about the ultimate.
She changes the weather of the game to be rainy, and maybe she gets bonuses from it, or she heals her team, or she is this acid rain? Is she pouring acid rain on the other team? Is she healing her team? What is this? Or is she causing a flood? Maybe that's what it is. She does like a tidal wave effect, that it's a hurricane. So there's the flooding. I don't know. It could literally be anything.
Yeah. That's another one we're just clueless on. How about the next ones, Jillian? You want to read those off?
Yeah. So we've got Noxus with "Let the Light In."
Let the light in.
In my mind, this is going to be some kind of. She's a light-based character, of course, so that's important. But she's going to do like a burst attack of some kind as her ultimate. In that it's the final "let the light in." Come on, we're doing this right now. So I don't know. That's literally my best guess on this one.
Yeah. I was thinking it could be it would be sort of a self-buffing ultimate. Since she functions with light, maybe let the light in. She imbues herself with light or something like that.
I didn't think about that at all, but that could be entirely possible.
Again,
I like that.
Not enough really to go on. The only one that really tells us exactly what it is Malware with Trapped in My Reality.
Yep.
So far.
Everyone else is just a guess at best.
Yeah.
Then we got Telos with Get Down, which is very interesting to me because I wonder if that ability could affect his own team.
Because that's normally what you would say. You don't say get down to your enemies.
Exactly. And so it's unless it's like he's telling them to get knocked down or something. Like maybe this will be that earthquake ability or the earth shatter ability that knocks people down or up or whatever it may be. But to me, this feels like it's something that could affect both sides. So you have to coordinate with your Telos to make sure he's going to cast it and not affect your team, but only affect the other team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, now that you say that, that kind of it makes me think of intervene as a warrior in World of Warcraft, which is the ability where you charge to somebody and take any damage that they were going to take. Maybe that's what it could be. He yells get down, charges to a target, and then takes any damage that they would take because he is of the Knight class, which are the tanks of Ethereal.
He doesn't have a shield though, is my thought, because they're so adamant about designing characters and using the equipment that they've been given. He's only got his big axe, and according to his lore, he used to have a shield that he got rid of. So
really?
I don't know if that's going to work for him. Like a defensive ability like that, you'd think of a shield or something. Granted, his axe is pretty big. Maybe he's just going to hold the axe out in front of him and use that as a shield in this case. But
take it on the jaw, man.
Yeah, I don't know. This could go either way.
Yeah, it could. It really could. Interesting.
And then Aran, so everything you know is about to burn.
Everything you know.
I feel like it's going to be some kind of flamethrower attack.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the burn that says that. But his lore in the background is that he is basically like a devil created as a weapon to hunt down the heralds of other deities. So Zero or Talos or people like that. So I'm very interested to see if his lore ties into that at all, if he's more fire-based. Because when you look at Aran, his art or his character model, he's very rock. He's solid rock, and I don't see fire as his main source. So it's interesting that he's going to burn people with his ultimate.
Yeah. He's got the flaming red eyes, but that's about it as far as fire to do with him.
So I wonder if we're going to see more fire abilities out of Aran than just his ultimate.
Cool. That would be cool. I hope he breathes the fire.
It'd be pretty rad.
I want a fire breathing Aran.
All right. Now we've got encounters with XCL encountering Kalia.
Yeah.
So it's I don't look directly at her, you fool. She's charming you. That's a pretty obvious thing, I think, for me, for that Kalia is going to have some kind of charm ability.
Yeah,
which is
that's why I wrote that one down. Yeah.
It's very in lore for a nine-tailed fox as well.
Yeah.
In almost every game that has a nine-tailed fox, they have a charm ability at the same time. So it seems like there's a consistency here that I don't see why they would not follow.
Yeah, that's why I wrote that down. It definitely makes it. I mean, it's Exio's line, but it definitely leads you to believe that Kalia is going to be able to charm people. She is quite charming. Out of all the voice lines, I'm going to stop here real quick. Out of all the voice lines, hers are my favorite as far as how well they're voice acted.
Agreed.
I think Pears did an amazing job with that. If you guys want to check out Pears, she has a YouTube channel called Fluffy and Trying Her Best, I think it's called. I'll link it down in the description. But yeah, she did an amazing job with Kalia.
Absolutely.
Just the right amount of spunk. It's probably not everybody's cup of tea because she's kind of an annoying child, but they wanted an annoying child, and that's what they got.
And it sounded like she was having fun with it.
Yes, exactly. It really sounded like she was into it. Good observation.
Which makes sense. I mean, that's why I think on their current website, if you go to that initial page where you have to click to enter, it's a Kalia voice line that plays, because I think they are aware that her voice lines just sound so good and so much fun that it makes you excited to listen to them.
Right. 100%. And then another one, when Leah encounters malware, She sounds very horrified. This was a very well acted voice line as well.
Mhm.
She says, you are not of this world." And I think that implies, because we know from the website and the lore that we've been given that there's various worlds in the ethereal universe. Some of them are technologically advanced, some of them are very natural, some of them are heaven like, some of them are hellish. But it really sounds, and Leah is definitely of the natural part. But
Mhm.
what it really sounds like, malware is not anything of the universe at all. Like, Leah would know of the other worlds and their technological advancements and such, but it seems like malware is even outside of that sort of scope of understanding for Leah, which I think is really cool.
I do too. And malware is cybernetic. It's not like he got cybernetic enhancements. Like that's part of his being. From the images that
Right.
we've seen, that's the feeling I get from that. So I feel like that's going to be an entire world of people or of creatures that are not just cybernetically enhanced. They are biological machines, basically,
Yeah.
which I think is going to be
Right.
a cool concept to explore.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to malware. I'm not much for ADCs, but malware seems really fun.
Doesn't matter if if we're right about his ultimate, you can just 1v1 somebody. It's just you and
There you
them,
go.
no problem.
But that's where I fail, Jelly. I'm a team player. I do not do well on my own. Then we have a joke from Ethereal where he plays rock, paper, scissors with his shadow, which I think is kind of neat. I think that lends a lot of lends a lot to that character, because his shadow is just bloodthirsty and vicious, and he seems more of a kind of an innocent, kind of good sort of guy. It just, the thought of those two just playing rock, paper, scissors with each other, I think is kind of funny.
Well, the interesting thing about the shadow is, if I remember correctly about the lore, is that it's explained that that shadow is a disease.
Really, I don't remember seeing that.
I feel like that's what I saw. Maybe I'm wrong, but I if I remember correctly, but between Malaya and his lore, you can kind of maybe make the logical gap that he has this disease. Malaya talks about, I think it's her mother, gets this split personality disease. And to me, that sounds very similar to XCL's shadow.
Right.
And knowing that they're related as well is an important thing for that. Maybe it's genetic. Maybe there's more to it that we don't know about. But to me, so it's interesting that this is a disease that maybe XCL has risen above. To me, it sounds like some kind of form of Alzheimer's. But it's you're splitting your personality into two separate forms, and those are fighting for control. And the two as one line and this joke of him playing with his shadow, maybe he's come to like an agreement with either side, that they're more comfortable with each other or something along those lines, which I'm super stoked to see him, just for more about his lower side than anything else, because I think he's a very interesting character.
He is.
Going down that route.
I'm more excited about his sweet, sweet abs. Moving on, they have some actual ability names in the voice lines. Marina has several voice lines for something called ebb and flow, which is a lot of the voice lines have to do with, seems like dousing people with water, really, but in a good way.
And knowing she's got a trident and she's kind of mermaid-like, not without the tail, but she's kind of got that vibe about her. That would make sense that it's all water-based. Ebb and flow could be anything.
Yeah, I mean, ebb and flow means give and take, really. So
my thought
all
process,
the voice lines seem to be just giving.
my thought process behind that is that she might take health from an enemy and give it to an ally.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Knowing she's a support,
really
so
cool.
that would fit. It gives her a heal that she can use. Fits with the theming of ebb and flow. Like that's the best thing I have for it in that regard.
How about Telos Jelanis?
So he's got voice lines for frenzy is what it is called in the videos that he's got. And that to me seems like some kind of frenzied ability. He's going to do more damage or attack faster or something among those lines for probably I don't think it's an ultimate ability. Well, we know it's not his ultimate ability. It was the get down.
Right.
But so I'm not sure if this will be a passive ability that maybe every certain amount of auto attacks he goes into a frenzy, or if he builds up enough auto attacks in a row he goes into frenzy, or if this will be a full-fledged ability for it or not either.
Yeah, that's the thing I could think of is it's definitely some sort of self buff where he probably attack speed.
I got it. He'll just be Boris. We'll just give him Boris's Q where he runs at somebody, gains attack speed, gains move speed, and damage. Problem solved.
Yeah, that'd be great on a tank. And that's all I had written down, Jelly. Did you have any voice lines you wanted to talk about?
Those are really the big ones that I saw too in those videos.
Right.
Those were the ones that I think gave the best perspective on the ability possible. Plus the little things like the jokes and the ability name that you saw.
I think like I said, I think Kalia's are the best voice acted. No offense to the other voice actors, they all did a great job. Just that one struck me as particularly good. I think the best lines though are Iran's. Iran has some really great voice lines. If you haven't heard them in a while, go back and listen to them because they're awesome.
And I think it's really easy for a character like that to overdo the effects on his voice. And I don't feel like that was done at all with Iran. I feel like they're right in that balance where it's a good effect, but it's not overdone.
Yeah, Tricolor did a great job there.
He kills it.
Like Grognark's voice, you can hear like rocks rumbling in the background every time he talks.
The weird
Leah,
thing to me, seeing
almost
Tricolor,
hear faintly birds chirping.
Yep. The weird thing, seeing Tricolor's work, it feels like somebody who's been in the industry for 30 years, doing like the little details like that. And he's relatively young. Like it blows my mind. Just it makes me feel like, what am I doing that I can't do things like this?
I've just never devoted myself something as thoroughly as Tricolor has.
And he makes like voice lines for League, voice packs for League just on his own. He does all these things that I'm just like, I'm sitting here not doing any of those things.
Right. He's also he's assisting with Project Stamina with their voice lines. So.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Busy bee.
Good for him.
Yeah. Hope it works out for him. I hope he ends up eventually making money.
Yep. Don't we all? I mean, this whole team, I hope they all eventually start making money. Truly, because they put so much work into this. And seeing the design team and all of the art that they've created and just the concepts of all of this, I hope it succeeds for them into the future for sure.
It's something we talked about earlier this week. We were saying, they'll probably do a Kickstarter or something like that eventually. Most games do, but they need to come out with gameplay before they do any sort of Kickstarter or ask for any kind of money. So I think, as I put it, it'll be a shitstorm starter rather than a Kickstarter if they try to ask for money without showing us some gameplay.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you because it's, at this point, it's been long enough. We should have some kind of proof of concept for people to back the project. For people that have been part of the community to back the project, I guess I should say. There are people out there that'll back it no matter what they do, but hopefully we get to see something attached with it other than I know that they're working on a website update. Other than the website update, I hope we see more than that to help prove that this is something that's happening to those people that don't believe something's happening. I mean, you and I both know that they're working very hard on this game every day. We're in contact with Owen and Kai and people like that. And my girlfriend who works on it every day, right? It's.
I was gonna say you see it more than I do.
So it's one of those things where we know it's happening, but there are a lot of people that don't, and they just are taking our words for it, basically. So it'd be way better for the community to see something concrete rather than just have to take people like us's word for, yep, it's happening. It's gonna happen soon. TM.
I want to see something concrete too. I mean, I believe in them and everything, but. Again, I'm just going off of what I've been told by people and what I've seen in the background, but fucking Core told me a lot of shit too that ended up not being true.
Oh man,
So, I don't know, man.
Just don't be another Core. Just don't be another Core.
I got a lot of faith in him. I got a lot of faith in him. I have seen some behind the scenes stuff, and very certain that this game will come out. If it's going to be good or not, I have no freaking idea. I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's ass and say that it's going to be the greatest game ever, because I don't know. I haven't played the game yet, so I know that I am very, very excited for it and very much looking forward to it, much like many of you are. And I know Jelanis, I know you're just as stoked for it as I am.
Absolutely. And I won't say that the game is going to be anything, but it definitely has the potential to be the next big thing.
Oh God, yeah.
I think that's the most exciting thing for me, is that we've been basically, a lot of us in the community are on the ground floor of potentially seeing that happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing it like I came into Paragon, I wouldn't say late, but definitely wasn't the first person on the server or anything like that. But with Ethereal, it could be something bigger and better than Paragon, and we could be the first people in the servers.
Something to make Smite sweat.
Yeah, finally. Smite needs to sweat. They need to clean up their act.
They really do, honestly.
But I think that's all I got for this week. Jelly, you got anything?
No, that's it for me too.
Anything you want to plug?
Twitch TV/Jelanis, hang out there 5 nights a week. Mangoose is there a lot of the time. Just very chill vibes over there.
Come in.
Happy to talk about all things Ethereal.
I got nothing to plug this week either, but yeah, come hang out with us. I'm usually there in the stream, so hit him up, drop him a follow so you can see when he's streaming.
It will be Ethereal the second I can. The second I can. The second they okay, you can stream, I'll be like, I'm in. Where? I can't come into work this week. Sorry.
Yeah, my truck might just happen to break down that week. Again.
Oh, darn, just one of those things of life. You can't control it.
You can't control it. But I think that's going to be it for this week. Thank you for joining us. And thanks for joining us as we all prepare to enter the ether. And for now, this is the Mangoose and Jelly signing off. You guys have a good one. Mangoose.